Hello everyone, this is Beastly Eel here, and in today's video I wanted to talk about The Boys presenting Diabolical. So for those of you who haven't seen it, I highly recommend it if you're a fan of The Boys, especially for the fact that it'll get you very excited for Season 3. So, things that are obviously different from Diabolical than it is from The Boys series. One, it's all animated, so none of it is live action. Some of the characters are from the show, most of them are not. That being said, I just wanted to give everyone that heads up only because it's a bunch of stories about people who haven't been really seen in the show, who probably will never be seen in the show, especially after all of this. But we're going to take this episode by episode just to kind of talk about the different stories, because each episode is its own story. So none of the episodes blend together or anything like that. Now, when characters from the series come in, most of them are voiced by their actual actor. Not all of them, but there are a bunch of them that have them. There are also some MCU actors who play characters in Diabolical, and we'll talk about that when we get to them. So we're going to start off right with episode 1. So episode 1 was very much like Looney Tunes cartoony. It was designed that way, it looked like, and the whole idea is the episode's called Laser Baby's Day Off. And so I guess after 20 days, Vought, for 20 days, Vought basically kind of tests out these babies, and after 20 days, if they don't do well, they terminate the babies. There's some guy who's telekinetic, floats around with a huge brain, and he's the one who decides who lives and who dies. So there is no talking in this at all. It is all just visual and energy blasts and stuff like that. So the baby and this doctor, or scientist I should say, he has a bond with her. The baby's abilities are laser blasts through the eyes that can pretty much cut through anything, but they're uncontrollable. So because of that, after 20 days, haven't been able to hit the target, they're ready to kill her. So the whole idea is him trying to get the baby out because he wants to protect her, and it turns into this whole, very much like Tom and Jerry meets Looney Tunes, where the baby's just crawling around, hitting stuff perfectly so they don't fall to their death. And when they get into situations, using their laser blast to cut through all the guards and people that get in the way. So basically, at the end, the baby learns how to control his powers, which I think is kind of cool. It's definitely funny, cuts through people with ease, and it was very, very graphic in the destruction of people. I do have to say that. So that was episode 1. Episode 2 was where Soups kill their parents. So these Soups, they were disowned kids who basically had useless powers and decided to brutally murder their parents. So in this episode, these teenagers all have awful powers. So like one's got like super strength but looks like a golem. There's another one who is all muscle, who's basically just a tongue. There's another one who's just a ghost. There's another one who can transform into any animal but loses its mental capacity and doesn't know what to do after that. There's one who has a speaker for a head. I'm trying to think if I missed anybody. Oh, there's one that goes super, super slow. So anyway, they find out on the commercial that all these parents paid for them to become Soups. And so they blame their parents for everything that happened to them. So then they start brutally killing their parents, one by one, up until we get to the ghost girl, who only gets to kill her father, and she doesn't get a chance to kill her mother, because Homelander comes in and takes out all of them, except for the ghost girl, because she can't be killed, because she's already a ghost. And so she goes hunting for a new body to try to see if she can kill her mother at some point. But that's how the episode goes. So each one kills their parent in a very specific way. Some parents cared, meaning like some parents felt bad what happened. Others thought of their kids as freaks and didn't want anything to do with them. So it was definitely a dark take on it. And the creator of this one was very much Rick and Morty style. In fact, I think the director was the guy who created Rick and Morty. So anyway, it was definitely Rick and Morty type, kind of spontaneous, with the idea of having it be boys influenced. So definitely a good episode. Very dark. Killed all the parents pretty much, all in horrific ways overall. Now the next one is called I'm Your Pusher. So Billy Butcher and his dog um, go hunting for a drug dealer who needs to start spiking a specific superhero's fix. So he knows the soups go to hit this guy, who I believe is called Drug D or DD. I think DD, drug dealer. I think they call him DD, um, which is funny as all hell. So he basically gets all the superheroes high. So Billy Butcher pretty much forces him to put a specific compound in a specific soup's ability. So he's really against it, and he basically threatens him to do it, or else he was going to kill him. And so he does so. So this guy has super speed of flight only, meaning this guy has the ability to fly really fast. And so they give him this compound, and the guy is getting an award from the Seven, specifically Queen Maeve, Martian guy that I've never seen before, and Homelander. And so the guy's really fucked up. I mean, bad. Like, he definitely is messed up. So he starts flying way too fast, and then what happens is he crashes into the guy who's holding up this flaming hoop that he's supposed to fly through to represent him being celebrated and honored as a hero. Well, he attempts several times, misses. And on the last time he goes the fastest he's ever gone, slams right into this guy. Now, this guy is made out of metal. Smashes through him, breaks every bone in his body, goes right through the iron guy, or the metal guy, kills him and himself. And the seven that are there, meaning the seven members that are there, basically saying, "Oh my gosh, it's an alien invasion! Oh, it was Doctor whatever. He's blinded us. Can't you see him?" And everyone falls for the trick, that there was some sort of supervillain that caused this guy to space out instead of the fact that he was high on drugs. Definitely shows how screwed up the superhero world is, but also shows how gullible people are, which is so sad. Which was really sad, actually, to be honest with you. So anyway, the fourth episode is Boyd in 3D. So this one's one of the very meta ones. So this one is based on this guy wants to get with this girl, who this girl thinks she's not pretty enough because she has these freckles. And so this guy becomes, how do I put it? The guy comes in to this research facility for Vought and gets this cream that can manipulate his body to any way he wants. So he does so and kind of makes himself look a little bit like Homelander. And then he hooks up with the girl next door that he's always wanted to get with, and then she uses the cream as well, and she turns into this cat person. Very attractive, apparently, and still a cat person. So then they start using social media to get people to basically care about everything they do. So the issue is they run out of cream eventually. And so when they start running out of cream, oh, I'm sorry, they are allowed to keep getting cream from Vought until they start going down a spiral. So once they start showing their darkness, their evil side, I guess you would say, it ruins the brand of Vought. Vought stops allowing them to use their cream. So they get into this fight to use the last bit of cream and fail. Both fail because it falls into the toilet. They kind of split up. Then they kind of get back together a little bit when he admits that he likes her for herself and everything else. So it's definitely interesting to see all that. But in the end, the guy's head explodes because he used way too much cream and it exploded his face. So definitely dark and depressing. So it showed social media as a bad thing for people and how it can warp themselves um, into not caring about what's important, like the person that you love. So definitely a dark and meta take on society, which was kind of sad. So then the next episode was definitely upbeat. This was anime style drawing, and it's called BFFs. So this girl injects herself with Compound V and results in superpowers, but something happens when this particular woman drinks the Compound V. So she gets this Compound V. She uses it on herself. She takes a shit, and this shit becomes animated. And so she thinks it's her best friend, and they start talking. Yes, I'm not making this up. So Vought goes after and tries to dissect this shit to understand its powers and what the heck is going on. So anyway, this girl breaks in, steals it, steals her shit, and escapes into the sewer. And so the Deep goes after her and tries to find out what's going on. So apparently the Deep was the guy who knew what was going on for the most part, and apparently his Compound V was the one that was stolen. Or Compound V that he wanted anyway. For what, we don't know. So he goes into the sewer to stop this girl, and the shit explains to the girl that, by the way, you have the power to control all shit, not just me. And so during that, that's when he gets attacked by all shit. And I'm not even making this up. He's really being attacked by animated fecal matter. He freaks out and gets out of there. And she basically becomes, that's her superpower. She can manipulate feces. And it doesn't have to be her own. It could be anyone's. So she's definitely a weird character. So she escapes with her friend, and they still are friends. And she uses her abilities to kind of mess with the girls in school now, the ones that picked on her. So definitely a weird episode for sure. And in fact, the girl who takes the Compound V plays Katie in Shang-Chi. Fun fact for the kids. So definitely just a weird episode in general. And the Deep is played by the Deep. And I believe all of Homelander has been played by Homelander too, up until actually all of the episodes that he appears in. So the next episode, which is episode 6, is Nubian Vs Nubian. So this is where Nubian Prince and then the Nubian are two different characters, male and female, and they were a team, crime-fighting team, and they hooked up, got married, and had a kid called Maya. So as Maya's now a young adult, I would say probably between 10 and 13, somewhere around there. She realizes her parents don't like each other anymore, and they're ready to divorce. And she tries to recreate the mission that bonded them in the first place, and she does so successfully. It's this hammer eagle, whatever. It's a guy who just has like a bird mask and hammers for fists. He helps the girl out, and they start fighting. And the couple gets back together and they hook up again. And the girl has to listen to all of it and she's not happy. But then at the end they start fighting again like nothing ever happened. And that's when the young girl puts out the divorce papers and says, you know what, just sign it. I'm done. I'm done with the two of you. I'd be happier. I think we'll all be happier if you both just divorce. It's definitely just an interesting episode in general because it just shows that, all of Vought is fake. And even though they started to actually care for each other, it was still just an act for their ratings, and the ratings were down, and which is why they didn't like each other anymore. So the Nubian Prince was actually voiced by the guy who plays War Machine, for those of you who didn't know. Definitely a good episode again as well. So in episode 7, this was also an anime style episode. This is called John and Sunhee. So during this, his wife is diagnosed with this cancer that is not going to ever be healed. So the guy is an elderly janitor who risks everything to steal a syringe of Compound V. So he injects it into his wife's IV, and she becomes a soup, supposedly. I say supposedly because, well, you'll find out. Turns out she's stronger now and able to fight off the cancer supposedly. She starts shooting this energy blast type thing or energy ability out of her stomach that rips open her stomach and comes out and starts eating organic material. What happens is it's her cancer that actually gets the superpower, and it rips out of her and starts absorbing all organic life to make itself grow. So John and Johnny go out or try to escape. The cancer rips out of her into the woods and starts killing anything and everything in sight, and it starts to get huge. So soon he basically convinces her husband that they have to stop the cancer. So they go out of it, and she tries to stop the cancer, and she shrinks it a little bit, and she gets smacked out of the way. John goes to shoot it before he gets hit. Um, Soon he comes back and eliminates the cancer, or I shouldn't say eliminates it, controls it enough, puts it back in her body, and the two of them fight forever. And she basically tells her husband to move on without her, and she's already gone. She should have already been gone. It was definitely a sad episode. Not a lot of talking. It was a lot of just the cancer eating and destroying all living life, and her and her husband. She trying to convince her husband that he needs to let her go, and she's dead. She needs to take this as her thing and defeats it. It's definitely a dark episode, but still a good episode overall. So the final episode, which is the season finale of the Diabolical, this is where the new super is Homelander, and he's inducted into the Seven, and he's partners with Black Noir for his very first mission. So in this, we have Elizabeth Shue's character and the guy, and Anthony Starr's character, which is Homelander, and oh my gosh, I can't think of her name now. Anyway, Strickland? No, begins with an S though. Not the point. Um, so she is basically his person, his kind of, I guess you'd say, promoter. And so he's happy to be part of the Seven, and Black Noir is going to be the one that kind of trains him to be a part of the Seven. And so she puts into his head, they're only putting Black Noir there because they don't trust you. You got to be careful. You got to start doing stuff yourself and all that. So he goes on his first mission, and it is a hostage situation, and he's supposed to wait for Black Noir. And he refuses to do so because he keeps hearing the woman's voice in his head basically saying, they just want to control you. You got to do stuff for yourself. So he breaks in and takes out all the armed guards away from the hostages, and then he breaks into where the hostages are. And they start harassing him and everything else, and he kills all of them. All except one. And that's when Black Noir comes in, and Homelander is freaking out because he realizes he screwed up big time. Like, he was, really bad, messed up in the head. And Black Noir basically says, he's can't talk, so he convinces him by basically using sign language a little bit to show what's going on, but he doesn't. He can't do it right away. So the two of them start fighting. Black Noir is just basically trying to hold him off long enough to prove what he's trying to do. And so the last woman is escaping, and Black Noir snaps her neck to show Homelander that he was on his side the whole time. So this is where things get a little weird, crazy, and all that stuff, because Black Noir explains to him in sign language, basically, and writes a note on what's going on. So the place explodes, and Homelander explains to the people that he tried his best, and unfortunately that the terrorists blew up the entire place, and there was nothing he could do. He wasn't fast enough, and he apologizes. And because of that, his ratings go sky high, and everyone loves him. Even though he didn't succeed, he failed, obviously, but he did his best. He did what he tried to do. So, overall, a great series. Hopefully they do it again, because it was kind of cool. The episodes were 14 to 25 minutes long, each one. Definitely awesome. Definitely recommend it, especially for those of you who are getting ready for Season 3. So let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about this series. Overall, did you like it? Did you not like it? I mean, there were some episodes I liked a heck of a lot more than others, obviously, and I'm pretty sure it was just something for everybody. Other than that, I mean, as always, if you like the content you see, please like and subscribe below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a great day.